What's up, you guys? Chet-Guthrie, the Dream Poet here, coming to you all from Middle Tennessee. To be more specific, I am out here in Hendersonville. Now, the reason why I am out here today, you guys, is because there is a special site I want to see. A site of a very well-known musician that has influenced people like me and people across the entire world. And I am, of course, talking about the legendary Johnny Cash. This is what used to be the old home site of Johnny and June Carter Cash. But before I talk about one of the entire world's greatest love stories, I want to talk about the life story of Johnny Cash. You see, Johnny, he had a very rather sad life growing up. He was born and raised in Arkansas, and during the Great Depression, his family moves out to Diaz, Arkansas. Out in Diaz, Arkansas, that is where Johnny would work in the fields picking cotton with his family. Sometimes he would lift upwards of about 200 pounds of cotton. That would greatly damage his hands, even from an early age, give him back problems. And in his earlier years, he married his first wife. I believe her name was Vivian. And anyway, from there, Johnny, he will serve in the war overseas. And when he comes back, he will make an audition. And this audition with Sun Records, a very small name at the time, he will blow up. And I guess you could say the rest is history. Now from there, Johnny Cash will play with many notable names. And you could even say he was really good friends back in the 50s with the king himself, Elvis Presley. And actually, Elvis is the one who, I believe, is the one who first started telling June Carter Cash about Johnny. And it was one night at the Grand Ole Opry that Johnny met a young June Carter Cash, and their love blossomed from there. And for many years, June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash, they'll be married for about 35 years. And at this house right here, this is where they would play for friends and family. It's where they would do all their family gatherings. This was their retreat from Nashville, and if I'm not mistaken, this was one of their most favorite houses. Now, in 2003, when June Carter Cash passes away, Johnny, he's not really left with a whole lot. And from there, he adheres to June Carter Cash's wish, and that is for Johnny to keep on playing, keep going until the day he dies. Well, at the age of 71, my friends, my fans, my followers, Johnny Cash passes away from diabetes complications. If I'm not mistaken, it was from respiratory failure. And honestly, it just kind of sounds to me like Johnny lost the will to live. And it's because, well, I believe that's probably why this love story between June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash is one of the most beautiful love stories ever told. And that's why we are out here today at the old house that was, or the house that is considered nature's house. So without further ado, you guys, I'm going to stop talking. We're going to look around. There's a lot of cool stuff here. Now, beyond this guard shack right here is the foundations of what was once the Cash home. And here is the marker referred to as nature's house. Builder Braxton Dixon designed the Cash home. Rugged beauty existed with open rafters, barn boards, and a wall of native limestone. The 14,000 square foot home overlooked Old Hickory Lake and a panoramic views and gardens that stretched across the property. Here, Johnny and June Carter Cash entertained family, friends, and neighbors for 35 years. The Cash House also served as a retreat for fellow musicians to gather and compose music with one another until the 2003 deaths of Johnny and June Carter Cash. Now, I did hear a couple of years ago that the current owners of the property thought about building something here, and it looks like they have. I don't know what it is yet, but it definitely looks like it's going to be something very interesting. And there in the foreground, where all the trees are at, that is the foundation of what was once Nature's House. Now, if you go to the Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville, you will find a rock wall. This rock wall was actually on the other end of this wall right here. And Johnny Cash, he used to frequently walk this wall, having ideas, thinking, probably dealing with his various struggles. Throughout Johnny Cash's life, he struggled with addiction, alcohol, and methamphetamines. But with the love of his wife, June, he overcame that. And now that we are no longer on the Johnny Cash side, beyond this gate, this is where Roy Orbison's house once was. But here on this property right here, this is what is known as the orchard. If you all don't know what the orchard was, well, the orchard was Roy Orbison's property originally. And when Roy Orbison's property burned down, the back wind was in 1968 from the historical marker right here. But Johnny bought this property from Roy Orbison, and he made, well, under the stipulation, or I guess promise, that he would never build anything. And for quite a long time, up until 2003, the Cash family, they were the ones who took care of these orchards right here. And the family who currently owns it, they adhered to what Johnny Cash had originally done, and they refused to build anything. And it's been this way for quite some time now. So you guys, there is one more place we're gonna head to. We are going to the graves of two of American country music's most famous artists. We are going to the graves of Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash. And you all might be thinking, well, where are they buried? Well, they're actually not buried far from here. It's just right down the road. So let's get to it. And one more thing before we head out to the grave sites. This house right here, if you look close enough, you can see a marker. And this house right here, everyone, this was Johnny Cash's parents' home that he bought for them when he moved here in 1968. Or I think it was earlier, but yes, Johnny Cash's family lived right across the street from he and June. Now that is one of the coolest, that's one of the cooler things. I like how Johnny and his dad had a better relationship later in life, because some of the things that his dad used to tell him when he was young was kind of wrong. You see, Johnny Cash's brother, I believe it was anyway, Johnny Cash's brother, Johnny kept on haggling his brother to go fishing with him one day while they were living in Arkansas, and his brother just simply refused. So Johnny, he goes out to the fields, or I should say, goes out to the lakes, the rivers. He does some fishing. Nothing too much is happening. But while he is coming back home, that is when he sees his dad on the road. His dad is frantic, and that's when he finds out that his brother, from about the stomach down to his private region, he had been split in two. And his brother managed to survive for about a week while having like all that internal damage. But something had happened with the saw blade. But long story short, Johnny Cash's dad used to tell him, you know, that should have been you. And I don't know, as someone growing up, I mean, that's kind of, but like I said, I'm glad that they managed to have just a better relationship later in life. And I kind of wonder, was this the original road going into the house? Why I say that is because this doesn't really look like kind of like anything drainage related. So I'm guessing this may have been the original entrance to the house. Not far from where their house stood, Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash are buried. And it's kind of obvious people from around the world have come to pay their respects. Now, June Carter Cash, what had happened is she was 73 years old, and the doctors had told her that she had a leaky heart valve. I guess something similar to a heart murmur. Well, Johnny, he convinced June to go through with the surgery, even though June didn't want to go with the surgery because June at the time was 73. But June went through it, and right after the surgery, her heart shut down, and sometime later in the future, Johnny signed the paperwork, and, well, she passed away. But here at June Carter Cash's grave, it says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name." Psalm 103:1. And now that we have talked about June Carter Cash, I know we've already said a lot about Johnny. June Carter Cash's dying wish to Johnny was to keep making music, keep bringing good into the world until the day he passed. And that's what Johnny did. Honestly, he made albums with Rick Rubin up until, well, I think the last of his albums came out in 2007 or 2008, I believe. Maybe it was 2010. But here at Johnny's grave, it says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, and thy strength in my Redeemer." And that is Psalm 19:14. Now, as I was saying, Johnny, he passed away from respiratory problems with his diabetes. But honestly, I think it was just him finally giving up and ready to go home to be with June. And not far from the Cash burial plot is none other than Merrill Kilgore. And if y'all want to know who Merrill Kilgore was, he was a really, really talented songwriter. And anyway, the best song that he can be known for is for writing The Ring of Fire. Although there is some debate because June Carter Cash has a credit for that as well. Some say it was June, as more or less a love letter to Johnny, and others say it was Merrill. But anyway, he is buried not far from them. Kind of interesting how that works. And he had quite a nice ring collection. Are you kidding me? I made the biggest deal of all. Here lies a beautiful dreamer, singer, songwriter, entertainer, and loved by all. Now, there is a couple of other people buried here. June Carter Cash's family are buried in this plot too. I think Johnny Cash's parents are buried here as well, I believe. But also, when Johnny Cash and his band originally started, originally it was Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 2. Then later on it became Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 3. And I believe one of them is buried here as well. But anyway, it's just, while Johnny may have had a lot of dark moments in his life, he had a very beautiful life. He was a very positive man. He always liked to laugh, or this is said by his son. He much rather always laugh than to be sad. And I'm very glad that I took this trip out here today just to pay my respects. to a man who has really inspired me to get out and make this YouTube channel. I mean, be creative, be artistic, do great things. Johnny Cash was also a really good poet. Maybe that's where my inspiration of poetry comes from. I don't know. I'm glad that I can be here and just to pay my overall respects. But anyway, guys, this is going to be another vlog. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Always means a lot, and it goes to show that y'all care and y'all want to see more. So without further ado, you guys, vlog over.